Okay guys, so this is my sheath setup right now for the V44X. I do have a belt sheath that I'm going to talk about in a minute. But right now we're going to talk about this. This is the Kydex that came with the knife from Work Tuff Gear. This is a great Kydex sheath, has great retention. All right, so here's how I have it set up. I have one of these pull tabs from an M4 mag pouch. Just kind of wrapped around there, and that's to keep the knife from coming out if you were to have it handle down carry on a pack or something. But you can easily pull this over and have that out of the way. But it does stop the guard from coming out. It sits nice on that. I have some D-rings set up here, and these are kind of expensive to have for a knife sheath, maybe, unless you like them. But these are Blue Force U-loops. And one thing I did fail to mention is these U-loops. One thing that's great about these is, let's see if I can do this one-handed. You can remove these. So you pop that forward, that ball kind of gets out of the way there, and you can pull this off. So you put it back on, you just push it back forward of this, push it back, and then pull this tight. So these are removable. You don't have to take it off the sling, and you can take the sling off of your knife, you know, if you want. Also, an HK clip works for that as well, or like a mag pull clip, para clip, a bunch of different options. I usually use the 1 1/4 inch ones like this for mag pull slings, and you can just get a mag pull sling. They're a little bit more expensive. If you have this type of material around, you can make a sling for a little cheaper. And these are 1 inch ones. This is just 1 inch webbing, 1 inch triglides, a 1 inch adjuster, and there's no sewing involved in this sling. If you want, you can also put a Fastex buckle, so you can take it off easily without putting it over your head or your arms. And this is adjustable. Let's see if I can make this sit still with one hand. So it adjusts out that way, and cinches down this way. So you can put it over your head, adjust it down if you want it off. Quick release. All right, I'm gonna put this on really quick, and I'll show you guys how I have it set up. Okay, so this is how I'm wearing this. Kind of crossbody, handle down. This is kind of what it looks like. So this is the release to loosen it up. You can pull it over your head, or just take a knife back around to pull it out, or resheath the knife. This with the knots, that's what cinches it down. You can get the knife out like this without it kind of in front of you. But if you got to put the knife away, then you bring the sheath around, put the knife away, cinch it back up. And you can switch sides with that. If you wanted to wear it the other way, on this side, there we go. So if you wanted it this way, and you didn't want it to pull it from behind you, you just release it, bring the knife around, grab the sheath, and pull it out that way. And pull it with the right hand. Now this is a little safety strap. Keeps the knife from coming out if you were to somehow snag the handle and pull it out. All right, that's pretty much it. There's a bunch of different ways you could sling this. You could put the D-rings on both sides and kind of have it over your shoulder and have it slung that way. There's a way that the last huntsman had it, where it was slung like this. He has a little video of how he did that. But that's all I have it done for now. Right here, this is a lanyard that I use for the hidden lanyard hole. I don't like it there because if for some reason it were to snag on something, it could just pull your knife out. And you don't want a almost 2-pound razor blade coming out. You don't want it to. That could end up being bad. So what I did is I only plan on using this, the lanyard really to slip my hand through and to cut like that. And the lanyard goes over your forearm. So I don't plan on using that all the time. So I have that on the sheath. So I can just take it off of here, run the lanyard through, and then use it when I need to. But this is not a very expensive setup. I have a whole sling setup, kind of like a how-to, because this was originally like for a rifle sling. You just need some 1-inch webbing. You can get whatever color you want, some triglides, and tie a couple knots and some 550 cord. So it's pretty easy to do. You can use whatever attachments you want. You can use U-loops. You can use 550 cord, of course, make it old school. You can use 550 cord through the rivet holes. You don't have to use buy hardware, but you can. So you get a bunch of options. I think I said HK clips. You can run the 550 cord through here instead of using any type of attachment. You can use a quick disconnect buckle somewhere in the middle. That way you can get the whole thing off of you quick. So how I've been carrying this when I'm hunting, I haven't carried it with a pack. But how I've been carrying it is whatever jacket or like outer kind of clothes that I'm wearing, I'm putting that over top of the knife so I can reach under the jacket and pull the knife out. And I have my rifle slung over top that, so my knife is not interfering with whatever rifle I'm carrying. So that's all with this. I'm gonna go over possible belt carry solutions right now. All right, stand by. All right, so this is one of the sheaths that I had done for my prototype. The factory V44X from Tuff Gear also fits in this. Change that over really quick. All right, so there is the knife, the Reaper Bowie, in the leather sheath. One good thing about the way that the handle is done is that it gives a nice place to stop. That way your knife is not bottoming out in the leather. And one thing that I'm not crazy about, the original V44s have a guard on the dull side, so you can put the strap over here, so that way when the strap comes up, your knife isn't cutting across the strap and cutting your strap in half. But right now, that's unless you do a handle strap, and even then, the knife will probably cut that. That's the best way I have for now. All right, let me put this on and I'll give you some suggestions for when you guys get sheaths made for this. Okay, so here is one thing you need to pay attention when you're doing sheaths for belt knives is the drop. So maybe pick a spot like from the where the handle starts, how long of a drop that is. One problem with this sheath is it's a good drop for getting the knife out, so you don't have to pull your hand up too high up to get the knife out. But a bad thing about the drop is a lot of times when I was wearing this outside, if you pick your knee up, like the worst thing is when you get the lanyard over your knee and it just messes everything up. But leg lanyards can be helpful and they can be a pain in the butt depending on how you have it set up. So you could set it up like this. If this had a D-ring sewn into the back, it might let it pivot a little better instead of binding and making the knife flare out. But it doesn't have a D-ring. So you need to think about drawing the knife out and getting the knife back in. So this is good for a draw, but for carrying, it might be a little low. So where I think it should probably be is probably about there with no lanyard. And that way it's gonna be a little tough getting it out. You kind of have to pull up high. Then you could switch hands, and getting it back won't be that bad. But that's right about the belt line being right across the handle here, if you can see my finger. So that's like that. That's about where your knife is. Some things you gotta think about if you start doing stuff like a crossbody, where you have like an angle like this. You got to think about when you're bending down, is it going to bind in your hips and restrict your movement? Like the Bark River ones have a sheath with a stud, and the knife kind of slips in so you can slip it out. And that might be something that would be helpful, having the belt portion, the belt loop being on your belt and having the sheath being able to come out. But that's one thing I would consider. Also, pretty much with me, every time I leave the house, I usually have a gun here about 4 or 5 o'clock. So I don't want to have a belt sheath over my pistol, because if I'm out, you know, a pistol is going to be my primary. Even normally when I'm hunting, I have a pistol. So when I was younger, I would have worn it over here when I didn't have a gun. And if I couldn't have a gun, I would put it here. But being older, if I have a gun, I'd put the knife on this side. So there's stuff to consider. You know, how you plan on carrying it. You know, this might bind. Right about here seems like it would be good. With a blade this long, if you're sitting down, like in a tree stand or sitting down somewhere in a vehicle, the blade's going to interfere with that. So it may be good, something you could take off, kind of like the Bark River sheath is designed. If you're out in the woods, you're not going to be in a vehicle, you know, that would be okay. There's some things I'd be interested to try out, like a safari land or a G-code setup, where you have a small, like a drop attachment with a high leg strap. And if you could bolt the knife with like an RTI wheel or like one of the G-code wheels, and have your knife kind of pivot like that, pretty much how like a modern drop holster would be. You know, I think that would be something that might work out pretty well. And then you could hit the wheel or hit the little whatever attachment method. You could take the knife off and put it back on. But just something to think about. I am in the process of making a smaller design that'd be more of like a 8.5, 9-inch pocket version of this. So, but this is mainly, you definitely, I mean, you can belt carry this, but this is something like truck carry, pack carry, off body, you know, in a pack, strapped to a pack on the bottom, you know, under a pack. All right, so that's all I got. Anybody that has any suggestions, links, or anything, feel free to put it in the comments. I think that will help everybody. All right, and also if you have some leather makers, holster makers, anybody that does kydex, you know, feel free to drop a link in the comments as well. All right, have a good one, and you guys be safe, and remember, V44 drops from Knife Center and DLT will be coming up in the coming weeks.